Part two. Okay. Hey everybody, my name is Michelle Renee, but you all call me Giggles, so this is the part 2 of my little character diary as Little Red Riding Hood. Still wearing the silly fancy outfit. Please enjoy. There was a cat in town today. It was wearing little boots and walking and talking as if it were human itself. How fantastical! I've never seen anything like it. I told Alice, but she didn't believe me. Today, I peered in the window of the baker's. I thought about going in, but it was getting dark and my mother would be worried. The baker's wife must have noticed me because she came outside and gave me some sweets after all. Sometimes when I say hi to the clouds and sun, I wonder if there's anything up there. But Mother says it is childish to dream of pretty castles in the sky. And if Mother says it does not exist, I know that is the truth. There is a small hut in the corner of town. Rather, it's small, but it looks like a manor. A bunch of foxes wearing clothes kept arriving, all with different amounts of tails. I even saw one with 9! But they were all turned away by a weeping female fox. Well, except for the one with 9 tails. I think he and the female married. This man came to the door today asking if we had seen his fiancée, a woman named Joringle. We hadn't, but I hope he finds her. He said she was stolen from him. Mother told me to be extra careful. She says some other women have gone missing. Whether it's wolf or witch, no one knows. But I'm always cautious, so nothing could happen to me. How silly! Here I am talking with Rose Red when the baker approaches us and asks if we have seen his gingerbread man run this way. As if it had risen from the baking tray and left to see the world. Poor baker. He must be anxious about something. Rose Red told me that she and her sister met a friendly bear. That is so sweet. Mother and I went to the baker's again today. They had a rather rude customer, a peasant who demanded things for free, claiming she was a princess who was married off to a poor man. She was pretty, but very foul. That white-skinned maiden I met in the woods some time ago was much more princess-like. As she left, she muttered something about a king whose beard looked like a thrush's beak. I haven't seen Gretel or Hansel in a while, and their stepmother refuses to answer the door. I hope all is well. Today, I saw this terrifying woman, hideous enough to be a witch, go into the house with the huge garden right next to the baker's. I hope I never run into her when I visit them next. Perhaps she was the reason the baker was so anxious. She put a spell on his gingerbread with her ugliness. I saw a boy and girl flying through the air last night. I hope that horrible witch-like woman did not curse me to have strange dreams. Or perhaps I ate too many sweets before bed. The world is full of very foolish people. Today the emperor walked throughout the whole town without any clothes on. No one was saying anything and Mother covered my eyes. Suddenly, a boy beside a white milk cow shouted, "He's got no clothes on!" And everyone began laughing. Me too. But Mother told me it is not polite to laugh at others. Mother and I went to go buy some linens. I overheard a woman say she'd happened upon an iron pot of gold. But the gold turned into silver, which then turned into copper, which then disappeared, leaving the pot. The pot itself turned into a creature which sprang off into the woods. I'll bet she'd spoken with Alice. Such stories aren't to be believed. You sure do meet a lot of interesting folk in the forest. I was on my way to deliver some linens to Granny when I saw a girl just off the path picking flowers and berries. She said her name was Briar Rose. I told her my mother says it's not safe to wander from the path, but she said her guardians told her to never go on the path. We couldn't agree on which one was correct, so we politely parted ways and wished each other a safe journey. A frog came hopping into town today. He asked me to help. He was a small frog, so I didn't mind sparing a moment. The creature said the princess invited him to the castle, but left him behind, so I carried him halfway across the town with a handkerchief and let him down. He thanked me and hopped off. I didn't know the princess liked frogs. I saw the man that came to our door asking about the whereabouts of his fiancée, Joringle. He's found her at last, and they celebrated their wedding with a cake that the bakers made. I am overjoyed! Today I saw Gretel and her brother Hansel and their father, and they had the greatest joy in their eyes. She didn't specify, but Gretel implied that they had gone through something terrible, and their stepmother was no good after all, so their father left her. They seemed much, much happier and much, much more full, as if they'd had feasted like kings for days. I'm so glad they're back from wherever they were. There's this great big house I sometimes walk by, where I hear a lot of yelling. Today, a girl covered in soot and cinders came running out, bound for the woods. She bumped into me and we both apologized. I asked why she was crying. She wiped her tears away and told me not to worry, but to cherish my mother. I felt a horrible pity for her as she left for the forest. Alice says she misses this wonderland. I try to share books with her, but she only wants the ones with illustrations. Alice is so fickle sometimes. Granny has become very ill. Mother and I are worried about her. We visited her today, but she still seems sick. I'd rather play with friends than toys, but I peeked into the toy shop today. He was quite a sight. The man who makes the puppets must have been practicing for something because he was so good at manipulating the puppet to make it look like it was running around the shop all on its own. Such a skillful puppeteer. Though he needs to work on making the puppet look more like a person. The nose was far too long. Today has been so boring. Though, I'd feel guilty going out and enjoying life while my grandmother lies sick. Mother has set aside some wine for me to give her tomorrow. I hope that'll help. On the way, I must stop by the baker's to get some bread. And also some sweets. I had the most terrifying experience today. I'd met a wolf in the woods, but he spoke to me, and I thought he was akin to the sweet bear Rose Red had spoke of, or perhaps the friendly cat in the boots. I made the mistake of telling him where Granny lived. When I got there, he gobbled me up. And Granny was in his stomach, too. It was such a disturbing, gruesome experience. I thought I was careful enough. Surely something bad couldn't happen to me, like it happened to the boy who cried wolf. I felt guilty for bringing Granny such a fright as well. Thankfully, the baker came and saved us. I'll be more careful when it comes to talking to strangers now. My mother won't stop hugging me. She refuses to let me outside and insists I play inside for a while. Knowing what I know now, I don't blame her. But I know better now, and I've got Granny's knife to protect myself with. And thank goodness, Granny is feeling better too now.